the Sebastian River Area Chamber of Commerce presents Sebastian Plus.
Welcome to Sebastian Buzz TV. I'm Beth Mitchell. I'm the president of the Sebastian River Area Chamber of Commerce. And today we have a very exciting interview with a special person. Her name is Kendra Cope. Kendra, welcome to the show. Thank you for agreeing to being here today. I want to tell you a little bit about why I invited Kendra to be interviewed. She is the environmental specialist for Indian River County, and she is our go-to person on sea turtles, lionfish, predators, anything you can think of. So we're going to talk a little bit about what Indian River County is doing to make our environment safer for the turtles and just better for everybody. Kendra, before we get started on all of the programs that the county has to offer, tell me a little bit about yourself. I know you have a degree. Where did you get your degree from?
So my background is in marine science, and so my undergraduate or bachelor degree is from the University of Tampa, where I studied marine science biology, and then I moved on to the University of Central Florida, where I acquired my master's in biology, specializing in sea turtle ecotourism and impacts to the local community actually here in Brevard and Indian River County.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
What started your interest with the environment?
I guess I can really relate it back to a trip I made to Hawaii in middle school, where I was snorkeling along the reef and a green sea turtle actually came up right by me, and I just started floating. I just got stuck in the water. I was like, this is a very majestic animal, and I would love to be a part of some of the greater good of working with these animals. And ever since then, I knew that I wanted to do something related to a conservation item, and over time through my undergraduate experience, and I really just gained a feeling of where I thought my skills would be best applied, and that definitely became sea turtle biology and sea turtle conservation, and so I'm here now because of that.
So it sounds like, are you a native Floridian? It sounds like you are.
I am not actually. I am originally from Dallas, Texas.
Oh, that's the personality. Okay.
Big personality comes from Texas, of course, and so a lot of that came from my mom. She has a love for the ocean, and she just never had the opportunities in front of her to be able to act on that love. And thank goodness I have a lot of support from my family and from my mother especially to really push me to do what I want to do, whatever that was. And I love my job, and I love what I get to do. I get to help animals, and especially sea turtles, every day. I get to communicate with people of the public and inform them on any sort of questions they have every day, and it's fantastic. And so,
well, tell us a little bit about what you're doing for Indian River County, and when did you start?
I started a year ago, so last May I became the new Coastal Environmental Specialist for Indian River County, which is a position underneath the Coastal Division or Coastal Engineering Division of the county, which is another entity of Public Works. And then one of my main roles is to implement and follow the guidelines set out by the county habitat conservation plan, and to kind of reach these goals which are set forth by this plan. And a lot of the goals are specific to nesting sea turtles due to our very high density of nesting sea turtle population, including our threatened loggerhead sea turtles, our endangered green turtle species, and our endangered leatherbacks.
If you would hold that thought, we're going to take a little bit of a break, and we'll be back, and we're going to follow up on sea turtles in Indian River County.
Attention! This is an important message for anyone who had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to their heart or lungs. Did your IVC filter move, break, or cause organ damage? The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, or even death. Call Jacoby and Myers today. You may be entitled to compensation. You won't pay a thing unless your case is settled.
Please call 800-378-0160.
Welcome back to Sebastian Buzz TV. I'm Beth Mitchell with the Sebastian River Area Chamber of Commerce, and my guest today is Kendra Cope. She's the environmental specialist for Indian River County. We left off and she was just getting ready to talk to us a little bit about sea turtles in Indian River County. Kendra, can you give us like an overview of the sea turtle program?
Absolutely. So in 2005, the Habitat Conservation Plan was implemented, which was a guideline to protect our nesting habitat for our nesting population of sea turtles. And this program is run by a gigantic, lovely group of volunteers that dedicate hours of their time to protect our nesting population, as well as multiple other permit holders, including consultants like Ecological Associates and the Disney Vero Beach Resort and their conservation team. And so overall, our main goal throughout the county is to collect information and data on our nesting populations. How many turtles do we see coming up and trying to nest? Are there any sort of obstructions or implications to our nesting population that are human-based that maybe we could work together to fix? Are there any other issues, maybe predation issues that should be examined and thought out to try to fix as well? And
let me ask you this, what do you do with that information once you gather it? Where does it go?
That's a great question. And so all of those data are compiled into an annual report, which is submitted to U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and as well as is available on the County Coastal Engineering website for anybody to view, as well as a lot of other smaller reports that are turned into the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, which I'll probably refer to as FWC from now on. And they use those informations to make a lot of decisions. For instance, if I see a major predation issue in a specific area, depending on who may be either the manager of that beach zone or someone just in charge of that beach zone, I'll go and reach out to them and say, hey, I'm noticing an issue here. What is your perception on this? What do you think we could do to try to manage this issue and try to eliminate or reduce any sort of impacts to our nesting population?
Overall, perhaps you could explain to me, I think I know, but I want to hear, why are sea turtles so important? Why so much effort going into the data collection and preservation, the whole nine yards?
The sea turtles. So sea turtles, as many people do know, they are a threatened or endangered species declared by the Endangered Species Act, the U.S. Endangered Species Act. But it's so important to protect them is because they're very long-lived species. So even if a turtle is born, it takes anywhere from 15 to 20 years for it to mature into another reproducing adult. And why that is so important is each of these species really, they can be considered keystone species or ecosystem engineers in a way. They provide habitat for other critters. They provide food for other critters. They are really important for nutrient recycling and nutrient transportation, and they interact with many, many different habitats. So their foraging habitat, or where they like to eat, can be thousands of miles away from their nesting beaks. So you have these interchangeable nutrient exchange, fish exchange. They're good for cropping and maintaining certain seagrass beds, or really maintaining coral beds, or any just sort of or habitat like that. They're very great at regulating.
They sound very important.
Yes.
Let's take a quick break and we'll be back, and hopefully you'll come back to see Sebastian Buzz TV. Welcome back to Sebastian Buzz TV. I'm Beth Mitchell with the Sebastian River Area Chamber of Commerce, and Kendra Cope and I have been sitting here talking about sea turtles. Let's get back to the subject, Kendra. Tell me what kind of programs you're working on now with the sea turtles.
I'm very excited to share information about some of the new programs that are going to be starting this year, 2016, in Indian River County to help protect and educate others about our sea turtles and our sea turtle populations, why they're so important, and things like that. And so this year I am proud to present the Turtle Friendly Business Program. And that is a voluntary program for beachfront businesses to sign up for that declare, I'm going to be turtle friendly by meeting minimal criteria throughout the turtle nesting season. And the turtle nesting season is from March 1st till October 31st.
So we've already started.
We have already started.
Do we have turtles already?
We do not yet,
Okay.
but we're waiting anxiously for our very first one.
Okay.
So the first turtles that come and start nesting on our beaches are our leatherbacks, which are our largest turtle. They range anywhere from 5.5 to 6 foot in size.
Yeah, I've seen them.
They're very massive, but very incredible. So all of these businesses, which include the Vero Beach Hotel and Spa, the Holiday Inn, Costa de Esta, Ocean Grill, Shark Bait recreational equipment, Boucher Brothers recreational equipment, and I believe that is it that is signed up for this year. And all of them have committed to being turtle friendly in their business practices. So abiding by all the regulations put forth by the city lighting ordinance, which means that lights should not be visible from the beach from March 1st to October 31st. They're also going to be advertising local sea turtle activities, including the new turtle digs, which I'll tell you about in a moment. The very popular turtle walks or turtle educational tours, and any other kind of fun activities that might be going on locally. And then they'll also be just handing out information and educational materials about our local sea turtle population, how people can get involved with helping protect our turtles, and stuff like that. And they're really just going to be focusing on making sure that we're very turtle-centric kind of area.
Now, earlier you mentioned that there are volunteer groups that are working with you. What would a day in the life of a volunteer look like?
That's a great question, because there's many different types of volunteers as part of the county sea turtle program. And so we have our volunteers that are part of the nesting crew. And our nesting crew helps myself and James Gray, our coastal engineer, kind of run our beach surveys, where we're collecting that information about our sea turtles on a daily basis. We know how many crawls that are occurring on our beaches. We know how many nests that are occurring on our beaches. We're marking off those nests for reporting purposes and such. And then we also have our educational volunteers. Our educational volunteers help go out to our local public schools and give marine conservation presentations to our 5th graders. I have 2 very faithful volunteers who do that, Paul and Ann Linz, and they've been fantastic. And then I also have other people who help with our turtle digs. And our turtle digs are a new public event that'll be happening at public beach accesses starting this summer, where after a nest hatches, 3 days after that, the nest has to be evaluated. So we need to know how successful that nest really was. And so those volunteers will be helping give educational presentations to the guests while they can watch us do those nest success evaluations. And so people can see really what are we doing as scientists on our beach, and then how can they get involved, and they can learn any information. And it's just another way for people to connect to our nesting population here.
We're going to take a little break. We'll be right back. So hopefully you'll tune back in. We can learn a little bit more about Kendra and all of the important work she's doing for us in Indian River County.
If you or someone you love is suffering from addiction to drugs or alcohol, National Rehab Recovery has an important message for you. Each year, we lose hundreds of thousands of our family members and loved ones to drug and alcohol-induced causes. If you have insurance or the ability to pay for 30 days of treatment, National Rehab Recovery can change your life. Medicare and Medicaid are not accepted at this time. The call and confidential consultation is free.
1-800-577-5446.
Welcome back to Sebastian Buzz TV. I'm Beth Mitchell. I'm with the Sebastian River Area Chamber of Commerce, and I'm having a delightful conversation with Kendra Cope, the environmental specialist for Indian River County. Kendra, we've been talking a lot about turtles. Tell me about the concerns that you have and the things that we have to worry about for the sea turtles.
So one of the major issues that has been brought up for years now is lighting, and the impacts of lighting not only on our adult nesting females, but also on our hatchlings. And so white lights can scare nesting females and prevent them from nesting, and that's why it's always important to, if you're walking the beach at night, to try to not have a white flashlight. That is one important thing, and we want to always keep a distance from our nesting females, because people can accidentally scare our turtles, even though they don't mean to do it and they mean no harm. It accidentally happens. So the best thing we can do is view nature as nature from a distance. But we have lighting impacts on our hatchlings, and so hatchlings naturally follow the moonlit glow off of the ocean to find their way to the water. But when you have this overbearing or overpowerful white artificial light coming from developed areas, you can have, I wouldn't say an overshadowing, but it overtakes that natural light. And so the hatchlings will naturally orient themselves towards that light versus the natural path to the ocean. And so unfortunately that can put them in harm's way from either additional extra predators or accidentally walking in parking lots where they can get run over or anything like that. And so, and that being the case, we really want to make an effort to try to reduce those impacts from lighting by having turtle approved lights that are either red or amber. So they don't have the same effect on those hatchlings, or even just not having lights at all, if that's a possibility. So one of the things, especially more located to Sebastian, and Sebastian is nowhere near the ocean, it's actually separated by the lagoon, but that area has a lot of development and beautiful businesses and a great area for a lot of fun activities. But those lights over can create what we call a sky glow. And sometimes that sky glow can also impact our hatchlings and disorient them from the direction they should be going to find the ocean. So that's something that I definitely want to be working with Sebastian in the future with, is to hopefully find a way that works to eliminate those sky glow impacts on our nesting, on our hatchlings and our nesting females. But then I mentioned the lagoon too, and so another impact to turtles that I worry about is our juvenile population of sea turtles that lives in the lagoon has interactions with people's recreational equipment, like boats and their boat propellers. So we have a very important juvenile foraging population of loggerhead sea turtles and green sea turtles in the Indian River Lagoon. And a lot of times they interact with people's boats, and it's a lot of times it's due to just unawareness of juvenile turtles being around. And so we see a lot of areas that say, go slow, this is a manatee zone. But one thing I definitely want to let everybody know is there's also juvenile sea turtles in our lagoon foraging and feeding on a lot of our great healthy critters here. And so if we just want to also be aware of that, hopefully we can reduce some of the boat strike impacts to our turtle population. And then there's other issues with the lagoon as well that I worry about, just being a coastal biologist. For instance, the invasions of the lionfish, which is a non-native species that that is negatively impacting our coastal environments in the lagoon as well as our offshore reefs.
For more than 30 years, Bay Street Pharmacy has been your neighborhood pharmacy and one-stop healthcare center, offering prompt personal service, home delivery, and a dedicated staff that treats our customers like family with care and compassion. Bay Street Pharmacy, where caring people care for you.
Welcome back to Buzz TV. I'm Beth Mitchell with the Sebastian River Area Chamber of Commerce, and Kendra and I are having a great conversation about sea turtles and the environment. I want to lead into something different. We're working together on an event called Lionfish Tourney. So what I'd like you to do is explain the issues with lionfish and how this event came about.
So great question. So the Lionfish Invasion is known as the most extensive and fastest growing marine invasion in history. So the lionfish was brought in through aquarium trade and released into Caribbean and South Florida waters in the early 1980s, and has expanded exponentially since that time. And the reason why the lionfish are such an impactful species to our coastal environment is because they're not native to this area. They have no native predators to control their population levels, and they love to steal habitat from our native critters and native fish. And they love to forage on all of our native fish and native critters. They pretty much will eat anything. They can be found anywhere, and they love taking little holes or little niches away from other animals, keeping them or exposing them to more predation in a way. So there's a lot of direct and indirect effects from the lionfish invasion. And so lionfish, it's hard to control their populations because they reproduce so quickly. They reach maturity at the age of about 1 year, and after that they start spawning tens of thousands of eggs every time they spawn, getting up to around 3 million eggs a year per fish. And so this, as you can see, this is how their population expanded so quickly. And so, as Beth mentioned, we have a new event called the Sebastian Lionfish Fest, which will be beginning this year on May 14th, which is the official Lionfish Removal and Awareness Day declared by FWC. And for that event, we will be focusing not only on the removal and control of lionfish, but the educational component of lionfish, and really letting the public know more about why these fish are so bad to our coastal environment and how they're impacting our coastal environment. And one of our ways of doing that is we're going to have a lot of local conservation-based vendors out. For instance, the Vero Beach Marine Lab will be present. You have Team Frapper, which is a local team that focusing on lionfish removal and education. We will have your Florida Master Naturalist. FWC will be present, and a lot of other entities. Just reaching out to the community, letting them know that we're here to protect our coastal environment. We want to do anything and everything we can to make sure that our environment is beautiful for everyone. We live in a really special area, and it's so important to take care of it because a lot of people don't get to enjoy all the great amenities that the Indian River Lagoon has to offer and our offshore worm rock reefs have to offer.
Kendra, I want to let the audience know, I hope you've piqued their interest in all of the things that you're working on, but how can they get more information? First about the sea turtles, and then about the lionfish.
Great. So a lot of this information is available on the Coastal Engineering County website. And so you can have information about our sea turtle nesting over years, since 2005, as well as any information about the Sebastian Lionfish Fest. There's also another website for the Sebastian Lionfish Fest, and that is SebastianLionfishFest.com. On that website, you can learn about lionfish and lionfish impacts, and then also how to get involved and be part of the Lionfish Fest, because this is a two-part event where we have a fishing tournament in the morning and then an educational cook-off in the evening that is open to the public to come, and I'll explain a little bit more of that after the break.
All right, we're going to take a little break. We'll be right back.
The fun is happening at Vero Social Club on North US 1, where friends meet for bingo every Tuesday and Thursday. Doors open at 10, with luncheon served, and the games begin at noon. Then Vero Social Club opens up the dance floor Thursday nights for social dancing. And weekends, Vero Social Club eats up. Check the website for Latin Night special events. And each Sunday, dance to hip-hop all night long. Go to VeroSocialClub.com. Vero's #1 party destination. Vero Social Club, 7500 North US 1.
Welcome back to Sebastian Buzz TV. This is our final chance to talk about lionfish and sea turtles, Kendra. And I'm very interested in the lionfish. I know you talked about how we got lionfish in our waters, but what do you have to do to get them out of the water?
One of the best ways to get them out of the water is to fish for them. And one of the best way to do that is through spearfishing, either by scuba diving or free diving. And so there are these specialty 3-pronged spears that a lot of fishermen will use to capture the fish. And then there's these holding containers. And one of the most popular ones that people have been using recently is called the zookeeper. And it's this tube where you can put the fish that's on the spear into the tube. And when you pull it out, there's a contraption at the top that will remove the fish from the spear so that you can use the spear once again and then keep the fish contained without chumming the waters.
And so what parts of the fish do you have to worry about?
Well, that's a great question. And so one of the reasons why we have to keep those fish in a nice container is because they have these venomous spines. And so these venomous spines, they have never been known to harm a human, but they are full of venom, which is extremely uncomfortable to have to handle. And they do, and the venom is used to harm their prey items as well.
Is it like a sea urchin almost?
I wouldn't go that far to compare it like that, but it is something that you shouldn't get pricked by. I can just say that now.
And you don't want to eat that
And you don't want
part of
to
the
eat
fish.
that part. And so I'm glad that you mentioned that about eating lionfish. And the reason is because the Sebastian Lionfish Fest is a 2-part event. So in the morning, we'll have that fishing tournament where all of our recreational fishers who like to go out and capture those fish can join into a team and do that. From sunrise till 4 o'clock, they can go out and take out as many fish as they want. There is no fishing restrictions for lionfish.
In fact, we want them to take.
We actually encourage you to
Right.
take as many as you can find.
Right.
And so we are going to be doing that and then bringing them back to Captain Hiram's where the event is being held, where the fish can get turned in, data can be collected about the size of the fish, and then the fishermen will get to keep their catch and they can use it however they like.
And so tell me about eating the lionfish.
Exactly, because many people like to eat them. And so that's the second part of the event, which is
Kind
the
of a
cook-off.
management strategy,
Exactly.
isn't it? Okay.
So we have found out recently that these fish are not only fun to fish for, but delicious to eat and very high in the omega-3 content for anyone who's interested in more of the health aspect of it. But they are absolutely delicious fish, and for that reason, we're going to have multiple local competing restaurants preparing different recipes of lionfish at the cook-off, which will last from 4 to 7 at Captain Hiram's as well. So everything is located in one little area. And the public is more than welcome and encouraged to come in and try all these different recipes to see really what is their favorite. And then they get to actually vote on their favorite and pick the winner of the cook-off competition.
I have one more question for you on this. This event that is happening is just one of many throughout the state. Is that right?
That is true. There are multiple fishing tournaments and sort of cook-off kind of related events going on across the state.
Kind of lionfish weekend.
In a way. So that's special on May 14th specifically. There's 5 different events going around the state. You have the gigantic event going on in Pensacola, which is supported by FWC. You also have our event, which is a FWC supported event as well. And then a couple other smaller ones happening around the West Coast in South Florida.
And so we're kind of running out of time, but one more time, what is the website for the lionfish tournament?
The website for the Sebastian Lionfish Tournament is SebastianLionfishFest.com. So go check it out, learn a little bit about the lionfish impacts, and then you can go out there and sign up for a fishing team tournament, and then also for to come and enjoy the lionfish cook-off portion of the event, where you can go visit a whole bunch of interactive educational tents and then try lionfish for the first time.
Kendra, you have been an awesome guest today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're filled with so much information. We might have to have you come back and talk a little bit more.
I would love it.
Thank you. And so this wraps up our Sebastian Buzz TV segment.